Now, Rowan, former Labor Foreign Minister Gareth Evans wants the government to get off the fence and reinstate funding to the UN's agency in Gaza, despite evidence from Israeli intelligence that UNRWA staff were involved in the October 7 attacks. What do you say to Labor's longest-serving Foreign Minister?
Well, I say that he is basically, whether it is his intention or otherwise, what he is doing is providing moral and popular propaganda support for the same people who were involved in butchering, raping, murdering, all sorts of atrocities on October 7th. So people have to be really, really clear. The links between UNRWA, the United Nations Relief and Works Agency, who provide all the aid into Gaza funded by people like Australia and the Australian taxpayer, they have proven links with Hamas. So you can't deny that. So if you are saying let's get more aid going into UNRWA, you are basically saying let's give more money to the people with proven links to the atrocities of October 7th. If he can live with that on his conscience, good luck to him, but I certainly would not be able to. And as an Australian taxpayer, I utterly resent anybody trying to take 1 cent of my money and giving it through whatever indirect means to the most murderous, barbarous butchers that the world has seen since the Holocaust. Not my money, no way, and every Australian should say the same thing, Rita.
Now, you mentioned moral and propaganda support for Hamas, and the Oscars arguably provided that as well. They were on yesterday, and the celebrities forgot the wise words of former host Ricky Gervais. Remember, he told them, stick to your lane, stick to thanking your God and your agent and get off stage. No, we had a lot of vapid virtue signalling about Palestine. Singer Billie Eilish and Mark Ruffalo, who's an actor, they were wearing these red pins calling for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. And director Jonathan Glazer, who won an Oscar for his film about Auschwitz, used his acceptance speech to refute his Jewishness and the Holocaust being hijacked by an occupation. Let's have a listen.
Our film shows where dehumanisation leads at its worst. It shaped all of our past and present. Right now, we stand here as men who refute their Jewishness and the Holocaust being hijacked by an occupation which has led to conflict for so many innocent people.
Rowan, it wouldn't be an awards show if we didn't have some daft political lectures.
Yeah, well, this was one of the very, very worst, Rita. The sentence that he cobbled together. This is a man who works in the communications industry, and he cobbled together some strange sentence about refuting this, that, and the other. But all the world will hear is a Jewish man basically renouncing his Jewishness. And that is what the world will hear. That is what the haters of Jews will applaud and be encouraged by. And that is what young Jews, Jews throughout the world will add to the burden of public shame being forced on them and humiliation by people who hate Jews. This is unacceptable. What this clown set up at the Oscars is unacceptable. I was actually quite looking forward to seeing the movie because it sounds like a very interesting movie about a guy during the Holocaust, a prison guard at Auschwitz or whatever, the commandant who lives in his own house and ignores what's going outside in the real world. Well, that is the perfect metaphor for Hollywood. They're sitting there in their beautiful, comfortable surroundings with all their moral superiority, with all their wealth and riches, ignoring the horror, ignoring the absolute horror of what occurred on October 7th, the barbarity, the savagery, the dehumanity, the evil of it. They're sitting there pontificating moral equivalence. I say again, unless you are wholeheartedly, full-throated in your support for Jews and Israel at this point of time, unless you're demanding and supporting the Israel army in its efforts to destroy Hamas for once and for all, rid the planet of this evil, unless you are full in your support for that enterprise, then I'm afraid you are on the other side. You are supporting that barbarity. You are supporting that savagery. You are turning a blind eye to the most revolting abuses of humanity that have occurred since the Holocaust. And I, for one, condemn you utterly.
Rowan Dean, thank you so much for your time this evening.